Okay, let's go.
It's time for Be Picked. When you're ready to move from clicks to clients, learn to be picked.
Welcome to Be Picked, the podcast for professional service providers who want to learn how to build and grow their businesses. I'm your host, Andrew Colsky, and today we are talking with Seth Goldstein. He is the Principal Creative Director and co-founder of Goldstein Media, and we are going to share his wisdom with you and help you build your business. So Seth, welcome to the show.
How's it going, Andrew? Good to talk to you. And no pressure, right?
Well, we're always happy to have people like yourself who can tell us the tips and tricks and pitfalls of trying to build a professional services business. And I know from personal experience that a lot of my colleagues struggle with that, myself included, until I started to learn what to do here. And it's not easy. So tell us about your experience working with professional service providers. Give us some of the common mistakes you see them making and some of the things that they start to do to turn the tide for their practices.
Yeah, a lot of them, biggest mistake is them not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
They get kind of deer in the headlights and they're like, I'm just not going to do anything. I don't know what to do. Or they decide, oh, this person who just DM'd me randomly on LinkedIn, oh, he's good enough. I'm not going to vet that person, and we're just going to go with him and see what he can build for me. No. Do your due diligence. You'll save a lot of time and pain if you kind of just either do it yourself or do your research before you hire someone to help you with it.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That is the biggest. And then another one is not being consistent. As painful as it is, you need to be consistent on places like LinkedIn, Instagram. If you're going to be there, be consistent. If you can't be consistent there, don't be there. I mean, for professional service providers, you need to be on LinkedIn. Absolutely. Alignable is another good place to be for some local businesses and stuff like that. That's a great place to be consistent there too, but be consistent. Be active, and yeah, there's only 24 hours in the day. Of that, you sleep hopefully 8 if you're lucky. No, I'm not that lucky. I get like 6 of them if I'm lucky. But you really have to think about, where your time's spent and how you're spending it. So you got to kind of schedule your stuff out, plan out your topics you're going to talk about, and go from there. So.
Yeah, well, I love that because you're so right about being not just visible, but being consistently visible is important.
And memorable. Yeah.
Memorable, decent content. We can talk all about, those things. But devil's advocate, attorney, doctor, therapist, realtor, whoever it is, comes to you and you tell them that, and their response is, well, that's great, Seth, but I got clients, I got cases, I got patients, I got, insurance claims to file, I got a million things happening at once, and now you're telling me I got to take another God knows how long every single day and go get onto LinkedIn or social media? What gives?
I mean, that's also where you do your vetting and you find a provider that will do it for you or will help you with it. I mean, whether that be you bring someone in-house that will help you with it on a regular basis, but hire someone local, hire someone nationally. I would try and keep it stateside because then, U.S. law applies. God forbid you need to. I mean, I'm talking to a lawyer here, so you should talk more about this than me, but I've been doing this for 18 plus years, so ultimately try and keep things where you can keep the American legal system at your beck and call if you need to, God forbid. But if you can't do it yourself, hire someone to help you kind of plan things out so you can do it yourself or you can get help with it.
Okay. All right. So let's take the next question, which is, okay, so I hear you, Seth, and I hired someone to help me, and we are working consistently to be consistent on LinkedIn as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been at it for a couple months now, and I keep telling people what wonderful degrees I have and how fantastic of an attorney I am, and I'm getting no clients.
Because you're
What
talking about
what is?
yourself too much.
Ah,
Yeah, you need to think about this. Share your knowledge. It's all about giver's gain. Give, 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 and then maybe say, "Hey, by the way, I do this."
mm-hmm.
Gary Vaynerchuk, for better or for worse, has a book called "Jab, Jab, Jab, Right Hook." I think that's, or might be a few more jabs in there, but it's a give, 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 and then say, "Oh, by the way, I do this." So provide good information. Show your knowledge. Don't tell about your knowledge. Show what you know and how to help people, and then it'll come back in droves.
Bingo, bingo. And I think that's really hard for a lot of people because they figure, well, if I'm going to take the time to go post something, I might as well just start out and hit them between the eyes, and that'll
Oh,
surely bring me business.
do the exact opposite, honestly.
Well, I always tell people, I'm on LinkedIn every day, and 95% of the people who contact me, they have a bot set up, accept their request, and boom, within a second, I get this sales pitch in my
Oh,
in
the
my
pitch
messages,
slapping, the pitch
and within
slapping.
2 seconds, they get blocked. So doesn't really work out well for them.
No, it's a game of numbers, and they figure that if they get 1 out of 10,000, that's great, but they get banned from LinkedIn before that.
Hmm. Yeah, well, you know, they earned it.
Yeah,
um,
they worked hard for that.
because honestly, they're wasting my time. And
Yeah,
I'd rather be using my time to be doing something productive.
absolutely.
So okay, so then let's follow that through. So you're saying that the post needs to be giving and productive and all. So what does that look like? Let's say I'm a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
So I get onto LinkedIn. Are my clients really on LinkedIn? Like who's my audience and what am I doing on LinkedIn?
That's kind of key. If you're doing business to business, LinkedIn is the place to be. If you're doing local business, LinkedIn and Alignable are the place to be. If you're B2C, it's more Facebook and Instagram.
Hmm.
Go
Okay.
where your people are. And a lot of
Okay.
times you got to figure out what your target market is, what your ICP is first before you start spending time on these platforms. So you want to figure out, okay, I'm trying to deal with end users, the consumers. Well, LinkedIn might not be the place to be. Instagram might be the place to be. Oh, I'm a B2B SaaS company or a B2B service provider. LinkedIn's a great place to be. You gotta go where the audience is. Where you gotta fish where the fishes are. Fish. You
That's
want
a
to know where
tough
fish where the
one.
fishes
You're
are.
both correct. So all right. So let's follow through with my examples. I'm a psychologist. I'm a therapist. I am looking to get out there. I'm listening to this, and I'm hearing you say I should be on Facebook and Instagram because that's where my target audience is going to be. So, okay, I decide to get onto Instagram. That means I need to go do some sort of funny dance, right?
If you want, I mean, it's relevant. I mean, if you can make a funny dance relevant to therapy, by all means, go for it. It'll probably get you more traction. But it's more like talk about mental health, talk about case studies without mentioning names and breaking HIPAA, obviously. But like, be real on there. Talk about the struggles with mental health. Talk about the struggles of what you're doing in your therapy sessions with people. Obviously HIPAA, but you can say John Doe. Names are changed to protect the innocent kind of thing. But you can think outside the box a little bit. Be creative. Honestly, in a way, you can always ask. I would not take it verbatim, but you can always ask these AIs, "Hey, I'm trying to do X. What suggestions do you have for me for topics to talk about?" They're great for brainstorming. They're not great for end and copy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, so I want to put out posts following what you're saying here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very concerned about my public persona and my credibility.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
don't
don't do
want
a chicken dance. I can tell you that.
right,
If you're
exactly.
worried about your persona, this would be the chicken dancing therapist. If that's what you want to do, all the more power to you.
Right,
But only put out there what you want seen, because once it's up there, it's up there.
right. But if I focus on putting out factually correct, meaningful, helpful content, isn't that going to be too boring for people?
You'd be surprised what people read. You'd be surprised when people are doom scrolling, finally getting some useful information. People actually enjoy reading people's content. I mean, every once in a while, if you write a book on LinkedIn, I think you have like 2,000 characters on LinkedIn to write. Don't use all of them. No one's going to read your post. But like 700 characters, if you want to write like a small little blog post on as an update, go for it. And then see, what the reaction's like. If people are reacting to it and liking it, great, keep doing that. If they're not liking it and they're not getting any traction, try something different.
Right, right. Okay. So, so let's switch gears for a second and
Mm-hmm.
talk about B2B. So I'm an attorney, and I'm trying to build my credibility amongst my peers and others. I'm looking to get referrals. I'm looking to maybe even be in contact. Maybe I do business law, and so I want to get in contact with businesses, or I want them to know about me.
Mm-hmm.
What's my approach?
Definitely LinkedIn. And definitely talk about the topics at hand. Let's say, because when you say business law, now I'm not a lawyer, you're a lawyer. I don't play one on TV, you play one everywhere. So there you go. Well, that's the disclaimer right there.
Mm-hmm.
But from the digital marketing side of things, there's a lot of topics based in business law to talk about. A lot of people doing stupid stuff in business. A lot of things saying, don't do this. And you can write a blog post about saying, this guy's an idiot, don't do this. I wouldn't call him an idiot because you might get yourself sued, but whatever. I'm not a lawyer. You're the lawyer. I'm not the lawyer. But talk about things that are relevant to the industry that you're focusing on. Give your expert advice, legal opinion, not advice. Because I think advice you have to pay for. I think that's how it works. Something like that. Like again, I'm not a lawyer. You're the lawyer. You can vouch for what I'm saying is legally sound or not. But ideally, you want to talk about stuff that's relevant to what you practice. You can, I know with client, HIPAA, and then there's attorneys have attorney-client privilege. You can't say Joe Schmo is my client and give a case study that way. But you can call him Sam Freed, and say, well, Sam Freed name's obviously changed. Came to me for X, Y, Z. This is what we did. Here's a case study. That's the right hook part of the jab, right hook thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, you talk about, so this happened in the industry today. This is what I think you should do. This is what they did wrong. Boom, 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 boom. And say, hey, let's talk. At the very bottom, you see a lot of times people saying, hey, I'm Steve Smith. I do business law in these areas. I'm licensed in this areas. If you want to learn more, talk to me. So there's a big give and a little bit of an ask at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and there's another piece in there to what you were saying. So, lawyers, same thing with doctors, therapists, whatever. Graduate school, you get your degree, you get your license. Everybody has the same education. There are
And a lot
no,
of debt.
different types of lawyers per se. Now, you may have focused on certain classes in school.
Yeah.
However, here's what I'm getting at. So if I say, well, I'm a business lawyer and I represent businesses and whatever. Okay, well, like you said, business law, what is
broad?
There's like a million things there. So if you're going to be posting something out there and trying to attract clients, even though you're qualified and capable and you do all these different things, pick an initial niche audience. Maybe you focus on, I don't know, reviewing business space lease agreements or something. Whatever it may be.
Thrilling.
Oh, absolutely. It's great reading. And but do that. Talk about that. You don't need to talk about everything, because when you talk about everything, you talk about nothing.
Amen to that. Yep.
So pick a niche to start with. Become known as the guy that does that stuff. those clients are going to need the other stuff you do too. But if you don't have a client to start with, what are you doing? You know,
As
you're
much
not
as
getting.
as much as I hate this term, but riches are in the niches.
Oh, there you go. There you
They're not in the niches because it doesn't rhyme. It doesn't sound good. But riches are in the niches.
go. But it's it's something that I hear so often from people. It's like, well, but I do all these things. I don't want people to think that I don't do these other things.
That's
And
what
you're
your
not out.
website's for. That's what your
Right.
website's for. They look at your thing saying, all right, Andrew does contract law. They go to your website and they're like, oh, he also does contract negotiations, and he does estate planning. That's kind of random, but okay, good to know. Keep them in the back of my head that he does that too. I think most lawyers that are business don't do estate planning. I think that's kind of what it's like a podiatrist trying to do internal medicine. This
Right.
doesn't happen.
Right.
I'm saying this, and there's someone who says I do that,
There
but
could be
most people
someone
don't.
that
They
does.
usually pick a lane. Your emergency medicine, you do that. I think podiatrists can't do internal medicine because they're different degrees. But better example, you can't be a internist, a primary care doctor, and be an emergency medical guy in the ER in the pit because they're two wildly different things.
Hmm. Yep.
And you can be a generalist, but master of none.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, something you said earlier, which I want to kind of reiterate here, is as you are thinking about what niche you want to hit, and you're thinking about what the content is that you're putting out, number one, it's important to identify, and this is what you said, your ideal client profile, your ICP. Who is my ideal client? And then understand, okay, now that I've identified who my ideal client is, what are the common problems that they have that they
Yes.
don't understand, that they're looking for information on? Because when they have a problem and they go to the internet, they're not looking up business lawyer. They're looking up,
Well, they might
I'm getting
start
ready to lease
there,
a
but
new
it's not going to get them
space
much.
and I don't know
Yeah.
what to consider in my lease,
Yeah, I
right?
mean, they might start with business lawyer, and they're going to get this result back. It's going to be completely not helpful, and then they'll niche down and they'll search down because I think a lot of people do start broad. That's a little broad, but they might say business lawyer that deals with rent control something, and then they'll be like, well, then rent control what? And then leases, and then boom, 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 down from there.
Yeah. But ultimately there's a particular problem that they're trying to find a solution for.
Yeah.
And you want to be the one who starts to show up in those searches when they're searching for the problem
Mm-hmm.
solution. And so that means content that you create has to be related to providing solutions and information about the problem they have, not about,
Absolutely.
hey, I do business law and look at my fancy website that I spent $1 million on and I don't get any.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the same reason why you do business law, you do contract law, trademark law. You don't want to say you also do estate planning. It's completely out of left field.
Yeah, yeah. So here's another one that I really would love to hear your feedback on. I'm sure we all get these. I don't know if I get it more than other people because of the type of work I do. I'm sure there's a certain degree of that, but I must get, at least 50% of the emails and contacts that I get on a daily basis are from these wonderful people who are so incredibly competent that they're going to get me top SEO ranking in my field immediately. I just give them a bunch of cash and boom, I am going to be top SEO. Now, since there's tens, hundreds, billions of these people who are all going to get me top SEO, well, don't they run out of clients, or how does everybody get top SEO in the same? I don't get it. Can you tell me what's going on there?
They're scammers.
No. There's scammers on the internet?
Exactly.
Oh my
Or
God.
they're doing, or they found some secret sauce that's going to work for 5 minutes, and then they're going to get you banned from Google, and then it's going to be like, then you're never going to be at the top of Google again. Like if they promise, you can never promise in SEO. You can never promise anything. You can say I can try and get you to the top of Google on these terms. We're going to aim for this in this region, and so on and so forth. But you never guarantee, I'm going to get you number one. If you get number one, fantastic. Go out for beers and celebrate. But
And
Never guarantee it.
and you know, I'll give you the tip that I use. Obviously I'm not going to hire any of these people because I realize they're scammers. But the tip I always use is I say to them, well, you know what? This sounds wonderful, and I really do want that. So let's do this. We'll go ahead and sign a contract to do it, and the contract will be as soon as you get me number one on SEO in these particular areas, then I'll pay you. You said you're going to do
You
it, so
troll
it's
the
not a problem.
trolls. I love it.
And then suddenly I get ghosted. What happened? I thought you were.
Silence. Yeah.
I'm willing to pay you for what you're going to do.
So you actually engage with them? Oh man, you're brave.
Well, because sometimes I'm
spam.
bored. No, sometimes
when you feel salty, it's like, all right, we're gonna jump into this and have fun with it.
Because I just want to, keep my skills fresh. But I abhor scammers. I despise scammers. If you can't be honest and direct, and I tell people this on LinkedIn when they contact me, I will tell, because you get these vague, fishy type of contacts, and I tell them, I said, look, if you can't be direct with me and tell me exactly what it is that you're trying to contact me for, then I would never do business with you.
Amen.
So I just, and I'm sure there's got to be a lot of people like me who are just over it.
Well, here's something I find funny for podcasters, because I know you get probably pitched all the time. And I always have these ones where they say, oh, I love your podcast. I've listened to your podcast a lot. Great. That sounds great so far. And I sit there and I read some more, and they're like, I'd love to leave you a review. Where would you like me to put the review? I don't care where you put the freaking review. Just put the review down, and fine. Like, don't ask me where I want your review. If I go to a good podiatrist, I don't know, I'm talking about podiatrists today, but whatever. I go to a good podiatrist, and I think they're doing great. I'm going to post a review where I post a review, and it's up to them to find a damn review. I might tell them, like, hey, I reviewed you over here. They may ask for a Google review. Fine, I'll put it there. But, like, just give me the review.
Yep. Which goes back to what you were saying before. At the core of all this, the people who are genuine, who are contacting you for legitimate, genuine purposes, not to try to sell you, not to try to pitch you, not to try to do any of that type of stuff, but who are genuinely looking for solid connections and things, those are the people who succeed. It takes more time, it takes more effort, but everything else is kind of like going into the casino and dropping quarters and dropping quarters and dropping quarters and leaving broke versus not going to the casino and actually doing your homework, doing your work, and building up your business and doing it the right way. And those are the ones who succeed.
Amen. It's simple. It's not that freaking complicated, people. Stop overthinking. And it's coming from a guy who overthinks everything, but stop overthinking.
Right. So, and people who listen to this podcast, I'm sure over time through guest after guest after guest, because my guests are people who, like yourself, who are professionals in this field, who know what you're doing, who have the experience, who've seen all the mistakes that people make. It's the same message constantly. Be authentic, put valuable information out that addresses the client's need, and then that's when they start to build trust. Now,
and it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's just like when you join a BNI chapter or a networking chapter. People have to trust you. People have to get to know you and make sure you're not a fly-by-night organization. So I'd say give it a year. Give it 2 years. Sometimes, I've been doing this for 18 years. I built my whole practice based on referrals and networking, going out and schmoozing. And it pays back in dividends, but it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears at the very beginning. It's a lot of like, oh my God, I got to go to this networking event again. It hasn't produced that much, but it's like if you haven't produced that much in 3 or 4 events, keep going. It will eventually.
Well, and also consider what is your approach when you go to that networking event. If you're
stop handing cards out like crazy. Stop it.
Well, right. There's the two people who don't get it. There's the one who's in the room but doesn't talk to anybody, doesn't do anything, doesn't
there.
They stand there. Well, I went, That's one. And the second one is the one who walks in with the box of business cards and can't even like introduce themselves to somebody without shoving the card in their face and then moving on because they got to get one into everybody's hand.
Or collect
For
the
some
other person's
reason, both of
card.
those
Yeah.
people fail.
Yeah, that's not how it works. Honestly, if I go to an event and I talk to 2 people in an hour, but they're good conversations, more power to it, you know?
Mm-hmm. So,
And it's not rocket science, people.
Right, right.
It's common sense.
But it's when you're, hungry for business and you're trying to build your practice, there's a degree of fear. The fear is if I don't get clients, I don't have income, I don't have a practice, right? And so I think out of desperation, some people turn to the, well, I got to get a client today tactic, and then that causes them to do the things.
Or they got a client today, and that's a fluke, and they think it's going to happen again. Lightning doesn't strike the same spot twice, unless not that I'm aware of.
And that, that's another piece here that I want to point out to the audience. If you are someone who is in school planning to become an attorney, a doctor, a therapist, a realtor, an insurance sales, whatever it is that you're going to be doing, if you want to get into the professional services field, you don't wait until you get out there and open your office. Today, right now, you start. Build your YouTube channel, build your LinkedIn account, build your credibility engine of what you're going to be doing, right? And get going now, not later, now.
Yes.
Like if you hear about investing, what do they tell you? They tell you start investing in your 20s so that you get the benefit of compound interest so that you're, rich when you retire. Same thing with not advertising, but credibility building, trust building, marketing. It compounds over time. That's why it takes 1 to 2 years. But you know what? Once you got that, you got a solid foundation, and it only builds.
Yeah.
So
again, not rocket science.
Right.
Patience is a virtue.
So if you had to share with us the top 3 mistakes that when people come to you for your help, they've probably tried some things that haven't worked before. Probably spent a whole bunch of money on, SEO people and all this other stuff and got scammed all along the way. Mm-hmm. What are the top 3 things that you see that they've done?
They don't invest their time in the platforms that they need to be on. They go to networking events and they're either a wallflower or they're a pushy person and they don't listen. And 3, they don't listen. I mean, it's a double, but they don't listen. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Use them proportionally.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay. So if you had to pick from all the things that we talked about today, the top 3 things that they should do, if they want to listen to this podcast, podcast ends and they're ready to go and they're going to do these top 3 things today, what are those?
A good question. Top 3 things you should do right now is sign up for LinkedIn, build out your profile, be honest with it, and what you do, how you help people. That's number 1. Number 2, go out to networking events, but don't be a wallflower and don't be pushy. Bring cards, but make sure you have like 2 or 3 quality conversations with people. And number 3 is you need to make sure that you have a quality website. Even if it's a 1-pager, just something that people can land on, know that you're legit, that you spent the money on a domain name, and that you're going to be around for a little while. That's key.
Okay, fantastic. So, I took a lot of the information from what I learned, and the mistakes that I made, because I'm an attorney, I'm a mental health professional, I've built practices, I've made all the mistakes that we're talking about here, and I learned, it's like touching the hot stove, I did it one time and I will never do it again, but I learned what
Hopefully
does work,
yeah.
Continue to do that. So I put all that in a book that I put together called Left of Trust that I'm happy to announce. It's coming out in September of 2026, but it's available for pre-order So if you go to my website, which is www.bpicked.com, you can look up the book there and you can find out how to pre-order it. So just need to get that plug in because that took a lot of work.
course.
But it takes everything that we've been talking about and
Yeah.
it puts it right in front of you and it explains the psychology behind it and it lays it all out in a way that makes total sense when
Mm-hmm.
you understand how all this stuff fits together.
Absolutely.
So tell us about you, Seth. How would somebody find you if they wanted to follow up with you? And what area do you work in? Who do you work with?
Awesome. Pretty much go to goldsteinmedia.com. No hyphens in there. Goldsteinmedia.com. You can go to social.sethgoldstein.me. E before I. I've never seen an I before E in Goldstein, but people always ask me that. So it's always Goldstein with the E before I. So that's social.sethgoldstein.me. All my links are there to connect with me there. I work with service-based businesses, small, mid-sized businesses up to like 50 to 100 people. After that, they kind of become more enterprise and a little bit more pain in the backside. So I tend to avoid them like the plague. But I help people of all sizes kind of figure out where they're going, how to optimize for it, and go from there. I also help people with their podcasts. I'm a podcast coach. I've been podcasting for 15 years. So if you're interested in doing podcasting and not sure where to start, I help people kind of get out of the weeds there too. So, and that's at podcastmastery.coach.
Fantastic.
I
So
cannot get the .com for the life of me. It doesn't exist. Someone's sitting on it, and I'm like, if you're not going to use it, let me use it.
right, right. No,
I
that's a
can't
big
even buy it. They're just sitting on it. I'm like, oh,
really. Wow.
I'd buy it if it was if it was like a few $100. I'd buy it. They won't let me. I can't figure
Yeah.
out who owns it.
And that's, for people who don't have a domain, have never dealt with that,
Oh God.
one of the biggest things is they just assume that, oh, I have this great idea for a domain, let me just go buy it. Yeah, not so much. This is 2026. There's practically no domains available in the .com space unless you're into three words
Hence
or more.
.coach.
Right,
But thank God they opened up the namespace. Because now you get a .app. You can have fun with it now. So it
right,
works.
right. So, all right. So let's see here. So this podcast obviously comes out weekly. We always have new and wonderful guests like Seth. They give you their perspective from down in the trenches. This isn't me just talking and telling you what I think I know or what I read that my sister thinks she saw on Facebook. This is actually the real stuff because we truly want you to succeed and we want to be resources for you. So please feel free to listen to the additional podcast episodes. You can find the podcast, you can find all sorts of info and everything you need at the website again, be-picked.com. You will find this episode. You'll find a blog about this episode with the content. You'll find bits of this episode on LinkedIn. You'll find it in many other places. Why? Because that's what we want you to be doing so that you're found in multiple places. Last bit there, you'll also find, I got to put in the shameless plug for the credibility generator where I took all this information and I automated it in a way that things that take you multiple hours per week take you multiple minutes per week. But
Love
that's
it,
a
man.
conversation for a different day. So, Seth, final word is yours.
Thank you for having me on, and be productive and get out there.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure.
If you are enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. Thank you.